All right, people, so now I've cut out my lace fabric. So like I said, I added 3 inches. Okay, here we are supposed to still maintain here, okay, because we are going to sew it into the lace. But by the time we are done placing this on the main bodies, we'll just trim this to align to that. So we added this 3 inches because of the bust. This was drafted on a flat pattern, and we have a protruding bust at that point, so you don't expect what we have here to lay accordingly. So you have to add excesses because of the bust. By the time we lay it on the bustier, we'll be trimming out the part we do not need. But from here I added 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch all around. So I have my lace and my tool. I'm going to use my tool to turn the neckline. So I'll quickly take off my pattern paper right now. So I'm going to lay my lace fabric on top of the tool and sew. Okay, so I'm going to arrange the neckline on top of the tool and sew. So this is it. So I'll quickly sew and turn. So I will turn and give it a good press. Then I'll bring it back to show you what next to do. Alright, so now I've sewn the lace and the tool. So you can see my neckline. I stitched at 0.5. So to have a good finishing, I like to trim very closely, but you need to be very careful while doing that. So I'm going to trim very, very, very closely, so I will have a perfect and neat finishing. But you have to be careful you don't cut out your stitches, but your cutting or your trimming has to be very close. So I've trimmed out the excess. So by the time I turn, I'll be having a neat finishing at that point. So I'll just go into my ironing table now, and I'm going to give it a good press, okay, with my steam iron, so it relaxes nice and flat. Alright, so right now I'm done turning the neckline with my mesh. So you can see I have my tool below it, and I've stitched and given it a good press. So I also use the little stitches to hold this so they will be together. So make sure you hold them so they can be together. So right now I'm going to come in with my dress form. Okay, I'll be laying my dress form on the table, and I'll show you how to lay this lace accordingly. Alright people, so now I've laid the tube on the dress form. Okay, so I'm going to hold down the tube appropriately, making sure I have this on the center front. So I'm going to pad it up just a little so it comes up for us to lay our lace accordingly. So this is it, and then I will hold it down. Can you see? So now I've padded it, and you can see it's laying flat and nice at that point. So I will come in now. We are going to do some needle work right now. So but before we proceed, I'll come in with my lace. I'm going to lay the lace, as you can see. So I'll align the lace to match up to the shoulder line. So I'll just position it to lay accordingly. So I'm holding down the shoulder part. Okay. So I'm making sure I have this at the center front, as you can see. So you can see how it's laying, actually laying. So that is how I'm going to secure with my pins. So at this point, you are going to work with your pins a lot. Okay, so if you don't have a dress form, it might be somehow difficult for you to work on this type of lace placement. You can also do that on the table. That is if you can maneuver it effectively. So I'm using my pin to hold on to my laces. Like I said, it's going to be a needle work. Okay, so the first part I will make sure I lay perfectly well is my under bust. So at the under bust, I'm going to hold it down and secure with my pins. And we are going to tack before we remove. Okay, we are going to tack. So I'm going to tack and then trim out the parts that are not needed. So you can see the under bust, I've secured it, and here you can see I've laid it. So the next I'm going to work on, I'll work on one part of the bust area. So you can see I would call it my my bust dart. Okay, so if I have to hold this, we return back to our 1 inch which we added. So I just quickly open up the sides of this, okay, and tuck in this 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to open up the center of it and lay one on top of it. Let me quickly do that.